Hello, and today I will be recapping episode 2 of Deal or No Deal Island. And much like in the last episode, I will first be providing a brief overview of what happened in the episode, my thoughts on it, as well as any future predictions for this show going forward. The episode starts with the very next day after Aaron won his game of Deal or No Deal against the banker. We start to see Aaron form a relationship with this woman named Alyssa, as well as building upon his previous existing relationship with Boston Rob. Meanwhile, Kim is trying to rally up as much people as she can to try to get Rob out due to him being a threat. When she tells Jamil that Rob is a threat and he needs to go, Jamil seems kind of hesitant to do that, which leads Kim to think that he's sneaky and he needs to go. We then have our two main rival alliances, that being Boston Rob's alliance against everyone else. The people in Rob's alliance aside from himself are Claudia, Nick, and Jamil. We also have Aaron, who is on good terms with Rob but isn't considered to be fully in his alliance. After the introduction, we then head in today's challenge where the remaining 12 players were divided into 6 pairs. One person was assigned to be retrieving arrows for the shooter, which then the shooter has to shoot down a target which contains a case. The smaller case amounts had bigger targets, while the bigger case amounts had smaller targets, making it harder to get one of the big cases. The pairs for this challenge were Jamil and Claudia, Amy and Miranda, Jordan and Dawson, Stephanie and Nick, Alyssa and Kim, and lastly Rob and Aaron. And for those pairs, the shooters were Rob, Kim, Dawson, Claudia, Amy, and Stephanie, leaving the other 6 to go get the arrows. The gatherers get the arrows by climbing a tree and pulling arrows out of the tree. The higher they go on the tree, the more arrows they can retrieve, with the last arrow at the top of the tree being a personal offer advantage for the player. I'm not going to go too into detail about this, but Alyssa got the personal offer as well as all 10 arrows on the tree, while Aaron had the most difficulty climbing the tree. Even though Alyssa had all 10 arrows, Kim missed every single target she shot with, putting her and Alyssa in the bottom 2 and up for elimination. Meanwhile, Aaron was the last person to return with arrows, having returned only 3, and Rob was able to shoot down the highest valued case, that being the $1.5 million case, on his third and final try. This gave Rob and Aaron immunity and had to choose between either Kim or Alyssa to face off against the banker in tonight's game of Deal or No Deal. After the challenge, Alyssa reveals to Aaron that she got the personal offer advantage. And since Aaron wants to build a strong bond with Alyssa, she then tells Alyssa that she wants to put Kim up for elimination against the banker tonight. When Rob sees Aaron talking to Alyssa, he says that Aaron made a mistake by telling the enemy who's going to be up for elimination. Once it was found out that Kim is going to play tonight's game of Deal or No Deal against the banker, Claudia checks in on Kim to see how she's doing, where Kim starts to get emotional and start crying over having to play Deal or No Deal against the banker. Claudia believes that Kim wasn't genuine and thought her tears were extremely fake. We also hear from Kim that even though Aaron and Boston Rob have immunity, she wants to take down someone from Rob's circle, whether that would be either Jamil, Claudia, or Nick. In tonight's game of Deal or No Deal, Kim went up against the banker. This game of Deal or No Deal had only 12 amounts on the board instead of 20 like in last episode. Kim got down to 4 amounts, with one being the 1.5 million and the other being only 3-digit amounts. She ended up taking the deal to the offer of $225,000, which ended up getting added along with the $600,000 in the final case for Deal or No Deal. It was then revealed that Kim's case had only $100, where she then had the power to choose anyone who wasn't immune to go home. Kim ended up choosing Jamil to go home for his perceived shadiness. And from there, the episode ends. As for what I thought about the episode, I should mention that this episode was only an hour instead of 90 minutes like in the premiere. And I think an hour is a better runtime for a show like Deal or No Deal Island than 90 minutes. Why I think an hour is a better runtime for a show like Deal or No Deal Island is because not only are there less people there, there's also like fewer challenges there as well. And since eliminations are based on a game of Deal or No Deal rather than a vote, it really doesn't make that much sense to put more of an emphasis on alliances as opposed to Survivor. But we do get to see conflict between the other players. And as for camp life, there really is none of that since they're living in tents and eating fresh food, as well as having access to showers and other forms of indoor plumbing. I also like how we start to see the relationships from last episode start to expand, such as Rob's relationship with Aaron. We also get to see new relationships form, such as Aaron's relationship with Alyssa. Speaking of, I also like that we got to hear from Alyssa this episode after pretty much being non-existent in the premiere. We also got a good backstory from Jamil before his departure, with that backstory being if he ends up getting the $1 million, he said his ex-wife will get back to him, so it was kind of touching there as well. The episode was also in a different structure from the premiere. There were basically 4 acts, with those 4 acts being after the elimination, the challenge, the time before the temple, and the actual temple with the game of Deal or No Deal being played. As for predictions, from what it seems like Boston Rob and Kim are at each other's throats. And I think Kim might be the winner since in this episode, it seemed like she had more supporters than Rob. But who knows, that could change. Anyways, enough of what I have to say. What do you think of the episode? What are your predictions for the future? And who are your new favorites, or are your favorites still the same from last episode? Feel free to leave your takes in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.